If you're watching this, I hope it's a big year for both you and me. One of my goals is to grow my net worth from 6 figures to 7 figures. That's the dream I'm working toward. There are 3 key things that I'm doing this year in 2025 that I didn't do last year in 2024 to move closer to the millionaire investor milestone. If you see my videos, you guys already know I've been growing my portfolio with stocks, ETFs, and compounding passive income streams, which are dividends and interest. But as I reflect on what's been working and what could be better, I've come up with 3 things I'm doing differently in the new year to make this next big financial leap. These aren't just small tweaks, they're intentional moves that align with where the market is headed and my personal growth as a 26-year-old investor. Whether you're getting started as a beginner investor or thinking about scaling your investment portfolio strategically, this video could spark some ideas for your own financial game plan. If you guys are ready, feel free to give me a like on this video and let's get into it. Alright, the first thing we're doing differently this year is allocating more to tech and AI-focused ETFs such as QQQM. I can already see in the comments, what's the difference between QQQ and QQQM? They're the exact same ETF. QQQ is more attractive to day traders and QQQM is more attractive to long-term investors. QQQM is also cheaper and has a lower expense ratio. So QQQM is the way to go if you're not planning to day trade. If you follow me on Blossom, you can see that the top assets of my portfolio include cash, which is an ETF or high interest savings account, a few long-term bullish ETFs, banks, and the rest are dividend stocks. This portfolio is focused on generating dividends and interest while bringing slow and stable capital gains. Why am I going to focus more on tech and AI in the new year? Let's think about the world we live in. AI is no longer just a buzzword. It's already transforming industries like education, healthcare, finance, and transportation. Think about the autonomous self-driving vehicles, Waymos, students who use ChatGPT, don't quote me on this, kids, professional writers using AI to proofread, AI investing tools. Tech isn't going anywhere, and if anything, it's driving the future. ETFs are always my favorite assets because it's just smarter and simpler, in my opinion, to buy an ETF that lets you diversify your portfolio across multiple companies than actually manually buying the shares of many different companies. And especially when you're just starting out, you don't have to keep track of many different companies. To invest in tech, QQQM is an ETF that tracks the NASDAQ 100, which is essentially a basket of the 100 largest non-financial companies listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange. They are tech giants like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and even AI leaders like Alphabet and Tesla. I'm also going to increase my portfolio's exposure to the future of artificial intelligence. So I'm looking into an ETF called AIQ, which is an AI-focused ETF designed to capture the growth potential of companies leading in AI and automation. By holding AIQ, I will be investing in a range of industries from tech giants like Nvidia and Microsoft to smaller innovative startups specializing in AI-driven solutions. What I love about AIQ is that it gives you targeted exposure to the rapidly expanding AI sector without needing to pick individual stocks. For my beginner investors, please know that I'm not putting all my money into tech. I'm increasing my allocation, but I'm still keeping other parts of my portfolio balanced with things like dividend ETFs and international markets. Diversification is always something that I talk about on this channel. You want to spread your investments across different sectors and regions so you're not overly reliant on one area. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you'd like to see how I balance between diversification and concentrating on growth stocks, comment the word diversification to let me know. I love to make a detailed video on what is working well for me. The second thing I'm doing is maxing my RRSP, the Registered Retirement Savings Plan. I know, I don't look old. You're probably very young too, but the RRSP account has its benefits even for young investors. I'm maximizing my RRSP with 2 main objectives. Earn tax-free dividends from US stocks so that when I reinvest my dividends, it compounds faster. Use this account to take on higher risk, higher rewards assets. Not too much risk. Guys, it's very important that I tell you this. When I say higher reward, higher risk, I don't mean that I'm going to buy penny stocks or something reckless. It means I'm willing to take calculated risks with a solid strategy to potentially achieve high returns, like investing in tech, which some people may even think it's risk-free. If you're not familiar with the RRSP, let me explain. The RRSP is one of the best tax-sheltered accounts in Canada. Basically, any money you invest inside your RRSP grows tax-free and you don't pay taxes on the dividends, interest, or capital gains until you withdraw the money later, usually in retirement when your tax rate is lower. So it's kind of like a win-win situation for long-term investors. But here's the extra perk that makes the RRSP so powerful for me this year. When you hold US stocks or ETFs in an RRSP, you don't have to pay the 15% withholding tax on dividends. Let me put that into perspective. Imagine you hold $10,000 worth of US dividend stocks and they pay you a 4% annual dividend. That's $400 in dividend income. If those stocks are in a regular account, 15% of that $400 goes straight to taxes, so you only get $340. But if they're in your RRSP, you keep the full $400. Over time, this adds up, especially if you're reinvesting those dividends. This is a strategy I'll be using to hold US dividend paying stocks in 2025. I also want to take it a step further by maximizing my contributions to the RRSP and expanding my portfolio into international and emerging markets. As for international markets, I'm referring to the global economy that is much bigger than just US and Canada. There are countries and regions like Asia and Latin America that are experiencing rapid economic growth. These markets have the potential for higher returns, but they also come with more risk. That's where emerging market ETFs come into play. For an example, I'm planning to max out my RRSP by investing in ETFs, and I want to share 3 popular all-in-one ETFs: XEQT, VEQT, and FEQT. Each of these has its own unique approach to diversification and growth, so you can decide which one might suit you best. Let me break them down for you on a super high level, then I'll walk you guys through the percentage allocations later. XEQT has the biggest allocation to US stocks compared to the other 2 ETFs. It also has exposure to international markets like Europe, Asia, and Australia. VEQT is similar to XEQT, but it has a slightly different allocation. It leans more toward long-term growth with a more balanced allocation of US and Canadian stocks, while still including exposure to international and emerging markets. If you're looking for a growth-focused option that keeps things simple, VEQT is a great choice. FEQT also provides global diversification, but also includes exposure to cryptocurrencies. This ETF is great if you want to add a touch of higher risk, higher reward asset to your portfolio without overcomplicating things. Okay, so we're looking at XEQT right now as of December 30th. It's $33.68. Year-to-date returns is 24.66%. So I love to read these parts here. So why XEQT? It's a simple and efficient way to gain exposure to a portfolio of ETFs, diversified across regions, continuously monitored and automatically rebalanced as needed. Let's scroll all the way down. So management fees, MER is 0.20%, which is not bad. Risk indicator is medium. So obviously it's a little bit more risky. So it is 47% in US stocks, 24% in TSX capped composite. XEF, it invests in countries like Asia, Europe, Australia, I believe. Do more research on this one. Emerging markets. So XEC is where you'll find stocks like semiconductor companies, Alibaba's, the Tencents, and there's some cash here. So XEQT holds all of these ETFs within the ETF. That is a basket of ETFs. So it's super, super, super diversified. So that is XEQT. It's by BlackRock. VEQT, Vanguard All Equity ETF Portfolio. So the NAV is $45.18. MER is 0.24%. So it's 0.04% more than XEQT, but not too much of a difference. So again, I love to read this part. Why this fund? So you can just read that. So it is 46% in the US, 30% in Canada, and then 60% in North America. And then they have emerging markets, all cap index ETFs. So all cap means like companies with all different market caps. So that's basically what it means. 6%, it's a small percent in emerging markets. So if you want to focus on the US and Canada and North America, and you want a little tiny exposure to emerging markets, this ETF could be good for you. But definitely, this is the Vanguard website. So you can do more research on that yourself. And then Fidelity. Hello, Fidelity. NAV is 14.11. I think this is super new. Yeah, inception is only 3 years ago. So it's pretty new. MER is 0.43%. It's a little higher than the other ETFs, but I'm sure there is a reason why. because they do want to stay competitive. So I'm sure there's a reason why it's a little higher. I just definitely do more research on that. Medium risk again. So the allocation is 48.8% in US, 22.9% in Canadian, international, and then here's 4.1% in cryptocurrencies. So if you do want to dip your toes in cryptocurrencies while still investing in the US and Canada and internationally, this might be a good ETF for you. Yeah, that's a super high level on the 3 different ETFs. The beauty of these ETFs is that they do all the heavy lifting for you. Instead of researching individual stocks in different markets, which can feel overwhelming, these ETFs automatically spread your investment across hundreds of companies in various countries. It's like having a global portfolio in one package that is easy to manage. You just have to do a bit more research on what specific ETF you want to invest in. Let me know what your favorite ETFs are in the comments. I'd love to check them out and learn from you too. Now I know what you're thinking. Why take on more risk if I'm already happy with my current portfolio? Well, here's my thought process. I'm 26 years old, which means I have time on my side. If the markets dip, I can wait it out and let them recover. The higher risk of emerging markets doesn't scare me because I'm thinking long term and I know the growth potential is there. But don't worry, I'm not going all in on these ETFs. Diversification is still the name of the game. The core of my portfolio is staying grounded in ETFs like VOO, the S&P 500, dividend stocks, tech-focused ETFs like QQQM and AIQ. These emerging market ETFs are just a way to add an extra layer of growth potential. By using my RRSP for these new investments, I'm not just keeping things tax efficient, but I'm also setting myself up for stronger growth in the future. And let's not forget, the RRSP isn't just for retirement, it's a tool that can help you build wealth strategically, even in your 20s and 30s. The third thing I'm focusing on this year isn't just about growing my portfolio or chasing financial goals. It's about giving back and making an impact. 2025 is a year I'm focusing on the growth of my first ever private equity investment in a social startup, which is also my favorite free investing app, Blossom. When I decided to invest in Blossom Social, it was a big step for me because, let's be honest, it's not like investing in ETFs or stocks. Startups are riskier, they take longer to see returns, and sometimes you're not even sure if they'll succeed. But they also represent a huge opportunity to be part of something innovative and meaningful. For my first ever startup investment, I wanted to choose a company that I genuinely believed in, one that aligns with my values as an investor and content creator. That's why I invested in Blossom. Let me tell you why I'm so excited about Blossom. It's basically like a Facebook for investors, but way more useful and positive. You can connect with other investors, see each other's portfolios in real time, and have transparent, honest discussions about investing strategies. When I started investing at 19, I didn't have a community like this. I was Googling everything and making mistakes on my own. Blossom is a type of tool I wish I had back then. But it's more than just an app. Blossom represents something bigger, a shift toward a more supportive, collaborative investing community. Investing can be intimidating, especially for beginners, and it's easy to feel like you're in over your head. Having a space like Blossom where you can learn from others, share ideas, and even track your own progress makes the process feel way less scary. As an ambassador and somewhat early investor, I feel like I have a responsibility to contribute to this community in a meaningful way. It's not just about promoting the app, it's about being part of its growth and helping others grow with it. I'm planning to share more of my own portfolio updates and trades on Blossom, showing the good, the bad, and the lessons learned along the way. I think it's so important to be transparent about what investing really looks like, not just the highlights, but the challenges too. And honestly, that's what I love about Blossom. It's not about hype or FOMO, it's about building a community where investors, especially beginners, feel empowered to learn and grow without judgment. Now, I know not everyone is at the stage where they're thinking about investing in startups, and that's totally fine. But here's the thing, when you invest in something you believe in, whether it's a company, an ETF, or even yourself, it feels different. It's not just about the financial return, it's about being part of something bigger. For me, Blossom isn't just another app, it's a way to give back to the investing community, to help others avoid the mistakes that I made early on, and to create something that's genuinely helpful and positive. So while I'm still focused on growing my portfolio with stocks, ETF, and dividends, this startup investment is a new chapter in my journey. It's about taking a step towards something I've been dreaming about for a long time, diversifying not just my investments, but also the way I contribute to the world of investing. If you're curious about Blossom or want to connect with me there, it's completely free to join and I'd like to see you on the app. And hey, if you've ever thought about investing in a startup or being part of something innovative, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So these are the 3 big moves I'm making in the new year to grow my wealth and make an impact. Whether you're just starting out or scaling up your portfolio, I hope these ideas give you something to think about for your own financial goals. Don't forget to sign up for my free email newsletter. You'll get my weekly investing insights, portfolio updates, free PDF guides, and other exclusive goodies to help you on your financial journey. It's all free and it's my way of supporting you as you build your wealth. You know where the link is. Happy New Year's, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.